Today, we're going to talk about the story of Elias Thorne. Now, this is a man who lost the very career that defined him for over 30 years, only to find the one calling that would completely redefine his entire life.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? It's a question a lot of us wrestle with, and it's right at the heart of Elias's story. And for a long, long time, he had a very clear answer.
Oh, yeah. For Elias, the answer was simple. His identity was completely 100% wrapped up in his job at Global Synergy Investments. We're talking the title, the corner office, the power of the company name. For all intents and purposes, that was him.
And just like that, poof. The foundation he'd spent his entire adult life building just vanished, leaving this huge void he absolutely never saw coming.
And this is really where our story kicks off. Not with a beginning, but with a really abrupt and, frankly, disorienting end.
This really lays it all out, doesn't it? You can see the two halves of his life right here. On one side, you have the old life, 32 years in corporate finance, VP title, a world of abstract value. On the other, the new life, just 3 years in, an apprentice watchmaker, creating tangible beauty. I mean, they're two completely different worlds.
For over 3 decades, he lived in this world of high stakes and crazy pressure. His office was practically a shrine to corporate power, and his success, well, it was all measured in numbers on a screen, projections, theoretical growth. You know, stuff you can't really hold in your hand.
And then, at 55 years old, the dreaded corporate restructuring brought it all to a screeching halt. Sure, they gave him a golden parachute, but it felt more like a lead weight, just pulling him down into this unfamiliar, heavy silence.
And this quote, wow, it just gets right to the core of his crisis. See, he had defined himself by the constant noise of the market, the phones, the shouting, the ticker. When all of that stopped, the silence that was left was just deafening. But it's in that exact silence that something really unexpected starts to happen. A new sound, a new possibility, and he finds it completely by accident.
So picture this. He's just clearing out his attic, probably feeling pretty lost, and he stumbles upon this dusty old box. It's a relic from his mother, who was a quiet hobbyist watchmaker. He'd always kind of dismissed it as just one of her eccentricities, but now it felt like something more. So, driven by some impulse he can't explain, he takes the box to an old watch expert, a horologist named Mr. Petrov. And these are the words that change everything. Mr. Petrov looks at the schematics and says this wasn't just a hobby. His mother had a real, true talent for the micromechanics of time. And this is where the real transformation begins. The former VP becomes an apprentice. He's not just learning a craft, he's learning a completely new way to experience time itself.
His journey happened in about 4 key stages. First, he just had to master the delicate tools. Then, something clicked. He realized that his analytical mind, the same mind that diagnosed weaknesses in complex financial systems, was perfect for diagnosing the intricate mechanics of a tiny watch. He was still finding patterns, still solving puzzles, just with gears instead of spreadsheets. This led him to the state of deep meditative focus. And finally, he rediscovered his own hands, not for signing papers, but for bringing something beautiful back to life.
And a contrast between his two lives, well, it couldn't be more extreme. You go from the chaotic energy of the trading floor, all that stress and adrenaline and noise, to the pure calm of the workbench. Meditative silence, delicate tweezers, and the only sound is the soft, triumphant tick-tock of a timepiece he just saved. And this transformation wasn't just something he felt. His wife, Clara, she saw it plain as day. That permanent furrow of stress he'd carried in his brow for decades, it just smoothed out. She said he was truly present for the first time in their marriage. He was really there.
So this all leads us to the final act of his story, where this newfound skill just blossoms from a simple apprenticeship into a true calling. He takes the ultimate leap. He opens his own little workshop, calls it Thorne Timepieces. He's not chasing clients or running ads. People just find him through word of mouth. He's not an apprentice anymore. He is a master of his craft.
One day, after restoring this magnificent, incredibly complex watch, a wealthy collector is just amazed by his skill, and he asks him this simple question.
And Elias's answer is just incredible. He says this. He reframes his entire 32-year corporate career not as a waste, but as the necessary preparation for the 3 years he spent mastering his true passion. You see, what Elias discovered is this powerful concept we can call the second chance career. It's the idea that your past experiences, even from a completely different field, are never, ever wasted. Instead, they become this rich foundation for a new and way more purposeful chapter.
So in the end, Elias Thorne's story isn't just about watches. He traded abstract value for tangible beauty. He wasn't just fixing clocks, he was reclaiming his own time. And that leaves all of us with a pretty big question to think about. What time are you meant to be keeping?